This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Are you able to see my screens?
Yes, sir.
Adi? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
So let's continue from where we stopped in the last session. Yeah. I think we were done with the configuration of tasks and task catalogs. Yeah.
Right.
Task and
Yes, sir.
task catalog. And we also discussed about info types, right? Did we? Did we also
Info
discuss about
type.
info types?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
We discussed about it. didn't we? Okay. Okay. Now let me just quickly recap info type. So execute human resources. We have organization management, expert mode, double click on organizational unit.
Okay.
Double click on organizational unit. So when we click on org unit, if you want to maintain one of these org units, you have to do a quick search here, and then if you give the short form, then you'll be able to search. So whatever you see in this list, here in this list, in this block, all these are called as info types. Yeah, all these are called info types. So you think we have finished info types? You remember something? How is it?
No, sir. No. I mean, we just started. That's it.
Started, is it? Okay. Okay, fine. So
Right.
so whatever you are seeing here in this entire list, all of these are called as info types. They are info types. And for each of these info type, we have to maintain a record if it is really required. Yeah, if it is really required. So for these two info types called object and relationship, we are seeing that the records are already maintained. Yeah, the records are already maintained.
Maintain.
Okay, so you see a tick mark here.
Right.
Abhi, there's some kind of echo coming from your side.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Just now reduce the volume. Now
Okay,
it will be up.
all right. So we'll be able to see, the info type records, if at all they are maintained. If at all they are maintained, we'll be able to see the records. Uh, I see two entries on you. You logged into some other system also.
I logged into desktop, sir, because
Okay.
in mobile. Yeah.
Oh, you use mobile, is it? Okay. All right.
Yeah. Now I got in the desktop. Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So So if at all we have maintained info type records for info types, then we will see a tick mark. We'll see a tick mark.
Right.
So object is one info type. Object is one info type, and there is one info type record that is maintained already for this particular info type. So that is the reason why we see a tick mark here. And then
Yes, sir.
using this particular info type called as object, we primarily we define the lifespan of this particular org unit, and then we give the short description and the long name. So basically we define what it is. We define what it is. Then we have another info type called as relationship. So using the relationships, we'll be defining, what is the, how exactly this particular object or this particular argument is linked to some other objects or some other arguments, some other arguments. So that is what we define using a relationship. So if you open, if you click on the overview here, if you click on the overview, we will be able to see the number of relationships that are set up with this particular org unit called as VASI, yeah, with other org units or other positions or other objects. Yeah, the number of relationships that are already set up. So you have to click on the overview to know that. So when you click on the overview, you'll be able to see a few records here. Let us open one of the records and see what exactly is there in that. So it says VASINC is line supervisor of. Yeah, he is line supervisor of VAS INC Atlanta. VAS INC Atlanta. It means that the reverse relationship. Now, when we have created the org structure, initially we said that VAS INC Atlanta reports to VAS INC. Yeah, that is what the relationship that we have set up while creating the org structure. Now, the reverse relationship is set up automatically by the system. Yeah, system automatically sets up the reverse relationship. That is, VAS INC is line supervisor of VAS INC Atlanta. Yeah, VAS INC Atlanta. So this is the reverse relationship that is set by the system. It is set by the system automatically. By default, the system is going to set it up. Similarly, Dallas. Similarly, Dallas. I hope you are there, Abhi. Yeah. So VAS INC is line supervisor of VAS INC Dallas.
I just got muted, that's why.
Okay. So VAS INC is line supervisor of VAS INC Dallas. So here also the reverse relationship is automatically set by the system, and while configuring the org structure, we said that VAS INC Dallas reports to VAS INC. That is a relationship that we have set up. So the reverse relationship is automatically by default set by the system, set up by the system. So this is what we can observe. So if you navigate back, we see that there are few more info types. For example, we have an info type called as account assignment features. Yeah, account assignment features. Now there is no tick mark here. That means there is no info type record that is existing here. So if you say display or if you say overview, the system will show that there is no data existing because we haven't created an input type record. So when we haven't created a record, how can you view it? We cannot. So we have to click on create. Click on create if you want to see what is the information that we are going to give in there. So if you click on create, we'll be able to see a few fields like company code, business area, personal area, personal sub area, and controlling area. Controlling area. So these are the fields that are related to FICO, that is finance and controlling, as well as personal administration. Personal administration. Now, if at all the FICO consultants have created company code, if at all they have created the business area, and if at all they have created the controlling area, and if we want to link this argument VAS INC with those components, then we will maintain them by picking them from the drop down and we will save it. So that way, this particular argument VAS INC will be linked to the components pertaining to finance and accounting. Yeah, finance and controlling.
Okay.
Then we have two other fields called as personal area and personal sub area. These are the fields pertaining to personal administration within HR.
Okay.
And we will configure these personal area and personal sub area moving forward when we get into personal administration, in tomorrow's session or in the evening session tomorrow. So
Okay.
so what happens is only when you want to link this org unit, if you want to link or if you want to assign this org unit to personal areas and personal sub areas, then we need to maintain this info type called as account assignment features. And as per the client's business process, as per the customer's business process, if we don't have to assign org unit to any one of these components, then we don't have to maintain this info type. We don't have to maintain this info type. Similarly, you see, most of the info types here, like work schedules, cost planning, standard profiles, PD profiles, cost distribution, all these info types. If at all you have to assign this org unit with those submodules, only then we have to maintain. Otherwise, we don't have to maintain these info types. Maintaining all these info types is not mandatory. If at all, as per the customer's business process, If at all we have to assign these org units, then we have to maintain these info types. But
Okay.
but these two info types, object and relationship, they are almost mandatory. We have to create them for sure because we have to create the object info type to, first of all, define this argument itself. To define the existence of the argument itself, we have to create this object info type, which is mandatory. Yeah. Without defining it, there is no meaning at all. Yeah. And then the second thing is relationship. Relationship
Okay.
also we have to maintain for sure because we have to assign these particular argument to other arguments. We have to create a structure. So we may have to create positions, we may have to create jobs, we may have to assign this argument to other arguments. So we have to set up relationships. We do all that stuff only
Okay.
through relationship info type. So these two info types are mandatory and the rest of them are optional. Yeah, optional.
Okay.
So now I get back. Now double click on position. There are a few more info types here also. Just say search term, and we have manager production. Yeah, manager production. And all these um, positions, we have set up all these positions. Initially, in the export mode, we have set up manager and executive, and these executive finance, all these positions we have created in the simple maintenance in the last session. Yeah, in the last session. So double click on this manager production, and then you have one particular info type called as employee group and employee subgroup. Yeah, employee group
Okay.
and employee subgroup.
Okay.
Now click on create,
Okay.
click on create, and employee group and employee subgroup are the components or all these fields we are going to create in personal administration submodule. Yeah, personal administration submodule. Now, using the field called employee group, we are going to define whether an employee is a permanent employee or a contractor. Yeah. And using
Okay.
the field called as employee subgroup, we will define whether an employee is a monthly salaried employee or an hourly paid worker or hourly paid employee. Okay, like this, we are going to define, how an employee is related to the company, whether he's a full-timer, part-timer, permanent, contractor, monthly salaried or hourly salaried. We are going to define all this stuff using this particular employee groups and subgroups. So we'll be able to assign these fields or we'll be able to assign these components only once we have set up those things in personal administration again. So like this,
Okay.
yeah, like this, we have a whole lot of info types, but then right now we'll not be able to maintain them. We'll be able to maintain only when we have done those configurations, in those particular submodules. Only then we'll be able to maintain here. Yeah,
Right. Right.
we'll be able to
Okay.
maintain. So as of now, you can understand that we have a lot of info types as a part of this org management, and we'll be maintaining these info types only if we have to assign this particular positions or jobs or units with those components pertain to those submodules. And we'll be able to assign them only once they have been set up or configured in those submodules.
Right.
Now, this is a story about info types. About info
Okay.
types. Next. Uh, hey, we discussed about plan version also, I guess, didn't we?
Plan
Did we
version.
remember?
No, sir. Plan version.
Didn't?
No, sir. We didn't.
Now, let's understand what plan version is. Yeah, plan version.
Plan version. Yeah, here it is plan version. Right. Standard.
Yeah, we discussed
Right.
that.
Yeah, sir.
We
Yeah, plan
discussed
version.
plan version and we created, in fact, plan version also, I guess. Let's see.
I will mention here. Yeah.
Yeah, we created plan version. I think we have discussed about all this stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And so plan version is done. I think I'll have to maintain somewhere all this stuff. Otherwise, it's kind of repetition. Okay. Okay. Did we discuss about the architecture of SAP? I don't think
No,
we have done.
not yet. No, not yet.
Not yet, right? You sure?
Uh,
Okay. So while creating the plan version, while creating the plan version, I think I have shown you what and transport request is, right? I have
right.
shown you
Right.
what a transport request is. Now, if you go to SPRO, reference IMG, then we have
Okay.
personal management and personal administration. We have basic settings in personal administration, sorry, global settings in personal management, and then plan version maintenance. So we have created the plan version, and
And
I have also shown you how to default a plan version, I guess. Yeah. So if you
right.
execute,
You told me.
uh, yeah. So all this stuff is done. So now I think we have to discuss about the architecture or landscape of SAP. Architecture of or landscape of SAP. So
SAP.
when we want to create a new plan version, when we want to create a new plan version, we will see, for example, YY is a new plan version. Let's say I want to set up, and then let's say it's YY plan version, yeah, YY plan version, and save it. Say Control S. So we get to see a dialog box here, and in this dialog box we have a code. Yeah, we have a
Right.
code. This is called as customizing the request, or it is also called as transport request. It's also called as transport request. Now, what is the importance of this transport request? Let us understand. Yeah, let us understand the importance of this transport request. Now, a transport request is used in SAP to transfer customizations, programs, or configurations or objects from one client in SAP to other client. From one client to other client. A customized transaction developed in SAP is first tested in testing environment, then integration testing is done in the quality server, and finally the customization is moved to production. All this is done through a transport request. All this is done through a transport request. All right. So let us understand what are these servers and what are these clients and all the stuff. So the SAP architecture or landscape, it has three
Okay.
servers. It has three servers. The first one is called development server. Development server. The second one is called quality server. Third one is called production server. Yeah, production
Okay.
server. These are three servers. So whenever a customer wants to implement SAP, or they want to use SAP, they have to, first of all, keep all these servers and clients ready. Once the servers and
Okay.
clients are ready, that is when the basis administrators or the basis consultants, they are going to actually they're going to
Start.
download and they're going to install. They're going to install all these software components in their clients and servers. Yeah, clients and servers. So first of all, let us say a client like General Electric, they want to implement SAP. So first of all, they have to purchase the software. They have to purchase the software from SAP US. So SAP America will sell them the software. So they have to purchase the software licenses, and then they have to keep all the infrastructure, hardware infrastructure ready, and then they have to download all these softwares and then create different servers and clients. Okay. Once they keep all these servers and clients ready, that is when they have to approach some implementation partner. Yeah. So implementation partners can be any one of these major consulting firms like TCS or you know all these software firms. All these software firms. They approach them and they'll say that, hey, we want to implement SAP. We have got all the licenses and all the stuff.
Okay.
So that is when people like you and me come into picture. We go them,
Okay.
we go there. We then understand the business process. We create the blueprint. The client is going
Right.
to sign off the blueprint, and then we start the implementation process. So
Okay.
that is how it all goes. So first of all, they need to keep the infrastructure ready. So as a part of the infrastructure, they have certain servers and certain clients. Yeah. So they have three servers. First one is development, the quality, and the production.
For
So
production.
these are three servers, and under each of these servers, there are a few clients. Yeah, there are a few clients. The first client, in development server, there are three clients. Okay. The first client is called Sandbox. Sandbox.
Sandbox.
The second one is called development client. The third one is called testing client. Yeah, testing client. Then the quality server, there's one quality client and then training client. Yeah, training. Production server, there's one production client. Production client. So, what do we do with these different clients and servers? Next question, right? Why do
Okay.
we need so many clients and servers? What is the purpose of it? Now,
Okay.
your sandbox is like your scribbling pad, your rough book. Yeah, your rough book. So
Yes,
whenever
sir.
you want to, whenever you're discussing something with someone, you scribble something. You know,
Okay.
you make some rough plan kind of thing in the rough plan, and then later on you will make a fair copy of it. So you can understand that sandbox is a rough book kind of thing where you do the configurations before, it's some kind of test configurations and all the stuff before you
Okay.
actually do a fair copy of it. So
Okay.
this is a sandbox. Then we have the development client in which we redo all the configurations. That means whatever you have done in sandbox and whatever you have done in testing and all the stuff, we do redo it in the development client, and this is a neat and clean client, yeah, where the functional consultants do all the configurations. So in the IMG, whatever we are doing, all the configurations, we have to do all those configurations in the development client. Yeah, the development client. Then the testing client is used to do the testing. Yeah, testing of the configurations. So what happens is we have to move all the configurations from development to testing client. We have to move them and do the testing. So once we
Okay.
find that the testing is successful, then all the configurations are moved to the quality server. Yeah, quality server. And within the quality server, we have a quality client. And in this client, the users will do the testing. The end users or the business users or the business, they will do the testing. Once they say that the testing is successful, then all the configurations are imported or they are moved to the production server. And this is a live server, and production client is a live client, which is used by the end users to execute their daily business operations. Hiring, change of pay, change of position, performing time evaluation, performing payroll run, maintaining their benefits data, all master data, everything is maintained in this production client. Yeah, the production client. Yeah, the production client. now this is a neat and clean client in which, sorry, this is a live client in which the end users do all the operations and they execute, all those transactions on a daily basis. Yeah, on a daily. Now, how do we know that there are so many servers and so many clients? So whenever you get assigned to a particular project, yeah, then you have to
Okay.
ask your account managers or your managers as to what is the landscape, and you need to ask them to give you the login details. So then they are going
Uh,
to send you all these details. Yeah. And they're going to send you all these details saying that, okay, these are the servers and these are the clients whom we have. And they'll also send you the login credentials. Login
uh,
credentials. And usually when a laptop or desktop is assigned to you, they are going to also, create this logon pad for you. And then they're
okay.
also, usually they'll also assign this clients and servers. Usually they'll assign these clients and servers. If they have not created the clients and servers, you have to just add them. You have to just add them. So when you get access to SAP, yeah, from the institute folks, they'll also tell
Uh,
you how to add, the clients and servers. So you just understand how to do it. And if you don't understand, tell me. I'll tell you next week. Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
How do you identify that we have so many clients and servers? So if you just compare this, if there are three servers, then your logon pad should have those three servers and three entries here. For development server, this is one entry. For quality server, there will be one more entry. For production server, there will be a third entry. There will be three entries in the logon pad. So based on the number of entries you have in your logon pad, you can say that you have so many servers. You have so many servers. Now, how do you log on to the development server? And within development server, how do you log on to a sandbox? How do you log on to a sandbox? Now, within the
Okay.
development server, if you want to log on to a sandbox, now another important point here is that each client will have a unique number. Sandbox, let us say 100, 200, 300. Yeah. And then quality 400, training 500, then production 600. They'll have unique numbers, unique, client numbers. All of them will have. And basis administrators are going to create all this stuff. They're going to create all this stuff. So now within the development server, if you want to log on to Sandbox, how do you do it? Now you double click here. You double click here. If you want to log on to Sandbox, you have to give the client number here. That is 100 is the client number. Then you give
Okay.
username and password
In the past,
and say enter. You will log into Sandbox.
and
If you want to log into development client, then what you have to do?
maybe
You have to simply give 200 and then user
client.
ID password, you will log into development client. Same is the
Okay.
case with testing client also. If you want to
Okay.
log into the testing client, give 300 client number, then user ID password. Yeah, done. Now, if you want to log on to the quality server, then what you have to do? For quality server, there will be an entry here. You have to double click on that entry. Yeah,
Okay.
on that, you have to double click on that entry and then give the quality client number 400
Okay.
and then log in user ID, give user ID and password and log in. Same is the case with training client also. Give the client number 500 and then join.
Okay.
So that way you can log into different clients and servers. For production, you'll have a third entry here. In this logon pad, you'll have a third entry here. And then double click on the third entry and then give client number 600 and then you can log in. Yeah, you can log in.
Okay.
Next. Next thing is this sandbox is of course is a rough client. So it's like a dump book. So
Okay.
the transport request will not be generated whenever you do any configurations in this sandbox. Yeah, the transport
Okay.
request will be generated only when you do the configurations in the development client. Yeah, the TR or the
Okay.
transport request will be generated only when you do configurations in the development client. Now, testing client it is only for the testing purpose, so you cannot do any configuration in the testing client. If you, it will be only in the display mode. It will not be in the chain mode. Yeah, it will not be in the chain mode. What do you mean by display mode or chain mode? Let me tell you.
Display.
Now, SPR, reference ING,
And
personal management, global settings in personal management, maintain plan version. Now here, when we executed, we are seeing everything in the editable mode here, right? Yeah, we can make new
right.
entries. We can make new entries here. Whereas when we are in the display mode, you will see it like this. Everything will be grayed out. Yeah, everything will be
Okay.
grayed out. You are able to make the difference. When I am saying
Yes, sir.
display change, we are once I am seeing in the editable mode, and then we have the new entries. When I'm clicking on the display change again, there is no new entries here. You see,
Right, sir.
no
Right.
new entries. New entries, no new entries. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yes, sir.
so the quality client or the production client and the training client, it will be like this. There will be
Okay.
no
And
provision for us to do configurations at all. There is no
right. Yeah.
provision to create new entries. So
Okay.
the new entries option will be only in the development client. Only in this client we'll be able to create the transport request. Only in this client we'll be able to make the changes. Only in this client we'll be able to do new configurations. In
Okay.
testing client, quality client, production client, there is no provision for us to do the configurations. Okay. Now this
Yes, sir.
testing client is only for the testing purpose, for the unit testing or for the functional consultants to do the testing. We have this client. This quality client is only for the purpose of the end user testing. Yeah, end user testing. And this production client is only for the purpose of maintaining the master data and doing the transactions and live transactions. These are all not for the configurations clients. Only one client we can do the configurations. Yeah. After doing the configurations here, we have to move them to the testing client. So once the development is done in the development client, we move the configurations to the testing client, and end users do the testing here. Then once this testing is successful, we move the configurations to the quality server, and in this quality client, the end users are going to do the testing. And once the testing is successful, then the transports are moved to the production server, and within this production server, in the production client, the configurations are used basically. That means the live transactions are made here. Live transactions are made.
Okay.
So the changes can be done in the IMG only in the development client. Only in the development client the transport request will be generated, and then the rest of the clients are for testing purposes only and live master data changes. Now let us revisit this. A transport request is used in SAP to transfer customizations, programs, or configurations or objects from one client in SAP to.
Another client.
So the transport request which got generated, the code, that code will be moved from one client to other client. So once we move that code, the transport request, then automatically whatever configurations are saved in the transport, all of them will be moved. All of them will be moved. A customized transaction developed in SAP is first tested in testing environment. Then integration testing is done in the quality server. And finally, the customization is moved to production.
Okay.
All this is done through a transport request. Yeah, all this is done through a transport request. Now, this is all about transport request. Of course, the system architecture and all this stuff we have completed. Yeah. Now, all right. Now there are a couple of other things that we need to understand here with respect to the live, real-time, systems and real-time understandings. Now, how are these transports moved, or how are these transports created in the real-time environment? Now, let us say
Okay.
you are working on a support project. Let us say you are working on a support project. Then, in the support project, what happens is there will be one help desk system. Yeah, help desk or ticketing system. Yeah, ticketing system. Now, whenever the customers have some issues with SAP, they will log in a ticket. They will create a ticket. Okay, they'll create a ticket. So let us say on a particular day there are three
Customer or
tickets. Customer, yes, client. They will create the
client?
tickets. Yeah. Let us say there is a user, yeah, who's a time administrator. They are running the time evaluation. While running the time evaluation, they are facing some issue and they are unable to resolve that issue. Then what they do is they raise a ticket in the help desk or ticketing tool. So once those tickets are raised, automated emails are sent to few people like the project manager and the functional consultants, the team leads pertaining to SAP HR, and to functional consultants pertaining to SAP HR. And then the client side, there will be business applications manager. They'll receive a notification. So like this, whenever a ticket is created, there are a few bunch of people who will receive the notification. So we will also receive the notification. Okay.
Okay.
So that means that there is an issue that is created. We need to attend to it. Yeah, we need to attend to it. So we will go and check the ticket. Okay, if it is related to time or payroll benefits, to which submodule it is related, and then we'll have to take the ownership of it. Yeah, ownership of it.
Okay.
And let's say there are three tickets, and all the three tickets we have taken the ownership. What happens is, let us say you have done the analysis of the first ticket. Yeah, first ticket. Then ticket. Then what you do after finishing the analysis, you will have to make some config changes in the IMG. When you make some changes in the IMG, system will generate a transport. You have to create the transport, TR. Yeah, TR. Then for the second, so let's say you have worked on this particular ticket for about 2-3 hours. Yeah, you're done with it. Then after finishing your work, we are going to do testing, the testing client ourselves. And we see that, okay, whatever issue the client has raised, this config change is going to solve that. And we have done the testing successfully in the testing client. Then what happens is the transports have to be moved to the quality server. Yeah, quality server. The basis administrator is going to do that. Yeah, they are going to move the transports to the quality server. Then in the quality server, the end users will do the testing. And then they say that, okay, the testing is successful, the issue will be resolved with the changes. Then the TRs, the transport request will be moved to the production server. Will be moved to the production server. Okay, this is going to be the path. You do the configurations in the development client, then you do the testing in the development server itself. Once it is successful, then it will move to the quality client and the quality server. The users are going to do the testing, and it will move to the production server. Okay, then you can close this ticket. You can close this ticket. So once the changes are moved to the production client or the production server, yeah, then you can close this ticket. Close this ticket. Same is the case with the second ticket. You do analysis, you do some, changes, and the changes generates a TR, and the TR has to move to the testing system, testing client. You do the testing, then the end users are going to do the testing in the quality, and then the changes will be moved to production. So once that is done, then the second ticket can be closed. So like this, in the support project, yeah, you are going to work on the tickets, resolve them, and once the tickets are resolved, the ticket will be closed. Yeah. So from you have to move the changes from one client to other client, and
Another.
then one server to other server, and other stuff. This is how the live process is going to be there, you know, in the live environment. So apart from this, we'll also have to work on the, if you're working on implementation project, then it so happens that you create separate transport for each module. Let's say for org management related changes, you create one transport. For personal administration configurations, you create another transport. For time, you create a third transport. For benefits, you will create a fourth transport. And for payroll, you will create a fifth transport. Yeah, this is how it is going to be in the implementation project. Whereas in the support project, at least one transport for each ticket. At least one transport for each ticket. So we'll stop here for now. Yeah, Avi, and then
That's it.
we'll continue with the rest of the stuff tomorrow. Yeah, rest of the stuff.
Tomorrow morning session, sir.
Yeah, yeah, morning. One second. Let me stop recording.